Hi, good morning. It's Cami here. I am a yoga therapist and a trauma-informed life coach. And I'm really glad you're here. I have my beverage as usual. Non-caffeinated, non-alcoholic. Those are the keys, but it has to be something you really, really like. I'm going to talk to you about why your sleep app, your meditation app, why it may be hurting your ability to sleep. It seems like a mean trick. If your meditation app is working for you and you're getting the best sleep of your life, then just keep going as you're going. If it's not working for you, here are some things to consider. This is based on a whole bunch of research. I will be putting a lot of notes and links in the description. So, your meditation app has these three elements associated with it. It has a length of time. Your brain is not dumb. Your brain knows 100%. Oh, does this app tend to be 7 minutes long? Does it tend to be 23 minutes long? 45 minutes? Your brain knows. There are lights associated with the device that the app is on. By definition, it's an app, so it is on your phone. I'm going to talk in detail about all these things, but that's the second attribute that this app has, is that it has light. And those two things go together to make you end up looking at the device at some point. So, all of my work, all of my yoga, all of my yoga therapy, all of my movement stuff, all of my thought training stuff, it all has to do with communicating to our systems, and specifically our central nervous system. I've given talks on this channel about polyvagal theory. There are lots of different angles that we can take looking at it. The upshot is we talk and think, we communicate with our brains using words, and the words communicate ideas, concepts. Our brain, our thought patterns deal in words. Our bodies don't as much at all. There's a small component to like what we tell ourselves has a certain, reaction that happens within our central nervous system. But we have to communicate with our bodies in the language of movement. Communicate with our cells, which are always deciding, do I grow or do I die? Do I let that cell proliferate? Do I let that cell die? And then taken out in terms of the whole organism, is my organism living, growing, connecting, striving, moving, thriving, trying? Or is my organism overall dying? I first came across this concept in the book Younger Next Year. there are some things I don't like about that book, but it has this really cool concept of how do we make our bodies younger next year? Well, by communicating to our bodies that we are actively, vitally alive, growing, connected, part of a safe community. We have enough food. We eat at certain times, but we don't eat all the time. We go and do other stuff. We look, we try, we climb, we bend, we reach. All of those things. All of those things are cross-body movements that we do. All of that is communicating with our body and our cells in a way that they understand. They don't speak words, not in the same way that our brains deal in words. Our thoughts. Our brains do all of the things, but our thoughts, specifically like our opinions and likes and dislikes, the lower mind. So if you saw my video on like higher mind and lower mind, all that, okay. I'm not going to repeat myself. Just know there's a lot here and we can get into it, in different videos. So a little overview there on we have to communicate with our bodies in a way that our bodies actually understand. Our cells, our central nervous system, our organs, all of our systems. Okay, so when we have a meditation app, usually by the time we get the meditation app, we might be at like a certain level of desperation. And there's a lot of hope that has gone into getting the meditation app, finding the right one, getting used to it, learning how to use it. We're excited. Maybe it helps us the first few times. It might even help us the first few times. It might help us the first year. It might still be helping you, in which case, great. Maybe you'll take some of what I talk about here to help you kind of make sure that it keeps working for you. If you are finding that those early hopes have been dashed and this thing it seems like it might be keeping you awake, but you don't want to blame the meditation app because that was supposed to be the solution to all your problems. Here are more clues. So it has a length built in. Your brain, so smart, always aware. You have this thing called neuroception, your nerve endings. All of you is always aware, looking for danger, looking for problems, getting information, even when we are not consciously aware of the information coming in. It's coming in. It's coming in. It's part of why we can train our awareness. That's a different video. Your brain knows that the meditations have certain lengths. So even if you doze off, there's a chance that your brain will register, oop, that just ended. Maybe, maybe not. But that's one of the things. Another thing is that the app has a light, or maybe just the phone has a light. So now you've got this device. Maybe a text comes in. Maybe when your meditation ends, maybe there's like a little indication of that somehow on the app. If there's any type of light coming at all from this device, your peripheral vision notices it. It's your job. It is your peripheral vision's job to be aware and constantly noting, am I safe? Are those really supportive loved ones in my vision right here who are like guarding our camp so I can sleep very soundly? Or was that a weird light? Was it, oh my gosh, was that like a scary, and here's where I'm getting, was that some sort of an email from my boss? Which are scary. I don't care how nice your boss is. There is something about that adrenaline dump when we see those things in our email and we don't know what they are and we're being called to the principal's office or whatever it is for you. It could be the best thing ever, but that initial jolt of adrenaline and cortisol and all of these inflammatory markers, I mean, it happens like that. We see the light in our peripheral vision, not quite sure what it is, so then we look. So we go from our peripheral vision to now we've looked, and that's a different type of vision. So that kind of vision is like, have you ever been in a car and someone cuts you off and it's scary, like something bad could have actually happened. It didn't, and you're here, or it did, but you're getting better. What happened with your sight? Peripheral vision came in, you slammed on brakes, or you did something that was your whole automatic system taking care of you, keeping you safe. And then your eyesight became so keen, so clear. In fact, there are studies that show that if you were then to go to your eye doctor, like let's say this happens, you're on your way to the eye doctor, your vision would be measurably better by a lot because your pupils dilate, everything gets ready, you stop digesting at that point, your brain is focused because something really scary has just happened. So think about this device. Do you have your work email on your phone? I don't. I don't think I ever have put my work email on my phone. Even my 2 businesses that I have now. I have 2 work emails for my 2 businesses. I love working on my businesses. I love talking to you. I love doing all of these things, but I don't have that on my phone. Just because I can't. But most people do. You might. And even if you don't have your work email, even personal email, you can get bad news over email, or your bank is reaching out to you or something. You've been hacked. It's been a recent thing for me. And so it just jacks us up. It just jacks us up. And then we look. And now we've got this other, I've got it in my notes here, macula lutea of the retina, but so there's peripheral, fovea vision. I think I'm getting that right. Foveal vision. So we have peripheral vision and then foveal vision. And that becomes involved when we're looking. So now let's tie this. So here we were in this very benign meditation app, but the length our brain knows that it ended. Our brain knows that it ended. That in itself may interrupt the sleep cycle. And I'm going to talk another quick second about the sleep cycle and like a concept there. Remind me if I don't. How could you remind me? Okay, then we've got the light. So the light is off to the side. Any light in your bedroom messes up your sleep cycles. It just does. There's a ton of research on this. I go into this in my sleep workshop a little bit. I go into it a lot more in my book. But just, it messes it up. Any little lights. Blue lights are especially bad, but any lights. So you've got a light happening. So that in itself messes up your brain's ability to understand sleep and wake. When we watch TV before bed, that tells our brains that we're dreaming, for example. Messes up sleep. Okay, so the light itself messes up your sleep. Another thing that light is doing, it's in your peripheral vision. It's probably on your nightstand. It comes up. Your amazingly wise, capable system takes note, even if you're not consciously aware. Then your brain has to make a decision. Is that safe? Is that dangerous? What's going on? Oh, it's my phone. Let me look at my phone. I need to start another, because it ended. I need to start another app, another meditation or a little story, whatever you're listening to. I tried, just because I was curious. I sleep really well now. I had to go to like a whole sleep doctor and stuff in my 20s. But, this is my job. So I tried listening to calm stories. But I knew, like, oh, dang, this train ride is going to be ending. I'm not asleep yet. Our brains know, you guys. Okay, so then our brain has to decide what's going on. Our brain knows that this thing has ended. We get associated as we're like dealing with the phone, especially if you have work email on there. But even not, you can get scary texts, even if it's happened one time. Even if it's never happened, your brain knows this could be good and it also could be really bad news. All of that is happening while you are trying to sleep. Whew. I need a drink of tea. Hang on. Okay. And then we look. When are we looking directly and concentrating? When we're working, when we're in danger, historically, when some animal is coming at us. That's our, let me find it again, foveal vision. That's our foveal vision. So that makes us look. So here I'm just going to say intense, focus, also deciding fight or flight or freeze. Certainly not sleep. So we look. Interestingly, there has been some really interesting research done on what has happened in our central nervous systems. I mean, like a million things since the whole pandemic has started, but with all of our online meetings, never in our evolution would we have ever had a situation where there are all these faces coming at us, except if it was like an ambush. So just think about that. I love being able to do online work. I love the accessibility of it. Love all, exclude none. I love that. But think about, we're communicating with our bodies, our cells, our cortisol in their language, whether we know it or not. Our bodies, our central nervous system is interpreting all these things to make sense to how it has always been for us as we've been evolving. So intense focus, and then that decision about fight, flight, or freeze as we're looking at our phone, that's not sleep. That is not sleep. So, am I saying 100% don't use a sleep app? No. I'm not saying that. If it works for you, great. If it's not working for you, you might learn like your own meditations, your own breathing things that you do within yourself. And you're not relying on these apps. Because another component to all of this is that sometimes what's happening when we're like, using, this thing is in our ears, is we're not even actually sleeping. It's a sleep look-alike. It can happen with medications, prescription or over the counter. Again, I'm not saying I'm against medications. I'm just saying if it's ever not working for you, these might be some reasons. Is that it's actually sleep look-alike. Same thing with TV. It's a sleep look-alike. Yes, so these things can have us not like do all the processes and all the things that we need to be happening when we're asleep, because it's not actually sleep. So I started this little chat by saying that we have to communicate with ourselves, with our bodies, in the language that our cells use, which is not words, really. I mean, it's like, to whatever degree the words cause an emotion or a physical experience, then yes, the words have an impact for sure. But we can't just tell our cells like, yeah, make that cell die and make that cell replicate. We have to communicate with movement, with behaviors, with experiences. And we have to be thinking about, how did this amazing system come to be? What is the design, and what are the expectations of our system, our central nervous system, our whole mind-body complex system? Our bodies are hardwired for survival based on the savannah of 100,000 years ago. Today's modern stresses replicate, I'm just reading from my notes a little bit, constant threats, creating constant fight or flight reaction. Our modern stresses replicate constant threats. The texts, the emails, the boops, the bleeps, the loneliness. Oh my gosh. As we're coming up, the only time we would be alone for days on end is if we were really, really sick and dying and everybody had to just move on, and, they put us in a cave to die. We got to be part of a group. We've got to have meaningful work. We've got to be communicating, connecting, all these things. This can be the stress from emails from work or stimulation of our senses that mimics ancient stress conditions. Talked about that phone. So what's the solution? Our days need to really include nonstop, really, like the whole day. We need to be speaking directly to our bodies in the language of our cells and our nervous system. It isn't what we think or say to ourselves that has all the power. It's what our bodies hear from our behaviors, from our experiences. Yes, our thoughts, like if our thoughts are stressing us out, but it's part of this larger internal ecosystem. The action steps here are just to consider how much is your device helping or hurting your sleep situation. Experiment with maybe learning a couple of the stories or a couple of the meditations and then saying them to yourself instead of listening. I do have a sleep course. I have a sleep book. I do work with this, so if you'd like to work with me on this, you can reach out. I'll have all those links below. I'll also have the links to the research so you can learn more. This is basically like a little mini workshop that I just gave you. It's based on years of learning and experience. I've helped more than 4,000 people, might be getting closer to 5 now. So, this is my work. This is what I do. And I've just given it to you. If you found value here, please just hit like on the video. That helps other people find it. If you're not, we have a lot of subscribers. Thank you. If you're not already subscribed, please do subscribe. Let me know in the comments, what did you learn? I really do look for your comments, and I enjoy hearing from you when you say something. So there we go. Meditation app, all of the things. Let me know how it's going, and I will talk with you again soon. Bye.